Good morning, Paris. It is my last day. I'm really sad that it's my last day, but I'm ready to make the most of it. I'm ready to go out. I'm really sad that it's my last day. It's my last day looking at that beautiful view, my beautiful windows. I'm gonna miss you. Alright, here's the plan. I think I'm gonna Uber to Notre Dame and hang around that area because I haven't been to that area at all this entire trip, and there's some really good cafes and some really good sights down there. The river's beautiful down there and there's just a lot to take in, and I don't know, I'm leaning towards spending my last morning there. So checkout of the hotel is 12 p.m. and I have to get on a 1 p.m. train to London, which is still so weird that I can get on a train back home. Anyway, I have to get that, so I'm gonna hang out. It's currently 8 in the morning. I will spend going outside until 11, then I'll come back here, and then I'm gonna Uber to the station, get on the Eurostar, go home. But we're not there yet, so let's spend time in Paris. Do you like my festive jumper? Today is one of my favorite weathers that there ever is. It's not that cold. It's cold. It's not that cold. It's not raining. And it just kind of feels nice. It feels festive. So it's really early, so there's not that many people around yet. So I'm right here down by the Notre Dame, which is literally right behind me. And I was sitting at the river and just taking it all in for a good 30 minutes. Like, I literally just sat down here, and it's just the perfect place to sit and take it all in, and I'm obsessed. One of my favorite memories of Paris ever was I was on one of these boats and we were going through the river, and on one side of the river it was all of these older people, kind of around my nana and granda's age, so like 60s to 80s, just having a boogie, doing salsa dancing, and it was one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen in my entire life because everyone was just so happy. There was music blasting, and apparently that's a regular thing that happens, and they were just on like one of these rows while we drove past, and they were just doing their little salsa dance, and it was so wholesome, and it was literally one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life. That's the fucking Notre Dame. Are we kidding me? I will say this, I've never woken up this early before and kind of been on the go from this o'clock ever on most trips, but especially here. And it's nice. There's not many people around at all. The only people I'm really coming into contact with are people that are like on runs, like morning runs or whatever. And it's so peaceful and it's so quiet and you're hearing every single bird. It's so peaceful. Hi, okay, so right after going into that first cafe, I went into a second one, and the second one I didn't film in at all, but I got a pain au chocolat and an iced coffee. Now, it was the weirdest experience I've ever had in my entire life, and it has been one that I've been warned about that happens by all of you and by my friends, and I like firsthand had it happen, and it was one of the weirdest things ever. Basically, I found out that it was kind of like a influencer-esque cafe restaurant, and so I went in and I did my order, or sorry, before that I was like, hi, can I get a table? The waitress was lovely. I was like, can I have a table for one person? And she was like, 1 second. And I was like standing there and I was a bit confused. And then she was like, I just need the manager to come out so she'll like look at you and decide where you sit. And I've heard that that fucking happens, and I've never had someone literally say it to your face. So then the manager comes out and she literally looks me up and down and goes, okay, you can sit here, and sits me outside on like the front part. So I'm like sitting beside like an attractive couple, and then there is like a girl beside me who's very clearly like a model, because she was like taking photos with like her avocado toast, and I was so like weirded out by it. And then furthermore, they like, people would come up to the restaurant and like, can I get a table for, you know, whatever, and the manager each time would come out and look them up and down and be like, oh, you can sit out here, or, you know, we'll come in here and sit, and would like bring them inside. And literally, it was so weird. I was texting my friend about it. I was sitting down, and everyone who's like sitting down outside is like looking at the people whenever they're like waiting to come in and like decide where they're gonna go. And it was so weird, and so many people would come in like tourists and would go to sit outside, and the manager would be like, wait 1 second, like that's reserved, and bring them inside, and then another person would just come and they would let them sit down. And it was one of the like most uncomfortable feelings ever. And then I felt so self-conscious like ordering anything, because I was like, oh my god, like these people are obviously very like look oriented, so I just got like a fucking like piece of bread. So I looked up online and I was like, where do ugly people sit in a cafe? Because I'm like, maybe they sat me outside because like I'm not attractive or whatever. It says, want a good seat in Paris? Be attractive, famous, or white. A French restaurant has caused controversy because they seat people based on their looks, ethnicity, wealth, and fame. What? Now here's the thing, I heard about this happening in the likes of LA, but I didn't know it happened here. This is so weird. This is so fucked. Oh my gosh. They will sit the most attractive people on front views so it's a nicer look for the restaurant. That is so fucking bizarre. That is so fucking bizarre. I would have been shattered if they sat me inside. But it should not be a case of that. Like, I've never been anywhere in my life where that has happened, and I'm aware that that's gonna happen everywhere I go in LA, and I'm not ready for it, because that was one of, like, once I found out what they were doing, because they just said it straight plain to you, it like broke my heart. It was like so fucking soul crushing that like the manager comes out and looks you up and down on like what you're wearing and how you look and decides where you're sitting. They had a nice coffee and nice food, but like it just put me off. I was like, fuck this. Pissed me off. Okay, I've been reading further about what happens with the seating at like cafes and restaurants in Paris, and I've found an article. It says, my own experience backs this up. Having once spent 6 months working in one of the rather chic Parisian establishments at the center of this controversy, and having spoken to workers at several other restaurants, I have seen up close how this works. The nature of this practice is way more orchestrated than it appears. In my restaurant, there was an area referred to as the VIP zone. It wasn't for VIPs, but for those guests that were deemed to meet a certain criteria. Located on the terrace in the front of the restaurant, it was in essence used by the management to showcase how good looking and famous the guests were for those passing by. What a shallow thing. I officially have like 20 minutes before I have to be out of the room, so time to clean it. Oh, Adam, please remember to try find that hummus, like online or something like that, please. It's this. It says hummus gourmet, that doesn't really fucking help. Eden gourmet, sans gluten, hummus gourmet. Right, I'm sorry I'm really not giving you much help, Adam, but please find it. I'm gonna keep that in the video. This is literally for me to remember. I'm taking these pain au chocolats with me. I don't give. Oh, are they gonna fit? Bitch, I'll make them fit. The siren here is so scary. It goes off every fucking 20 minutes. This is harder to close going back. Ah, fuck me. Right, you're not staying in there. It's currently 2:57 in the morning, and I'm just sitting at the window of the hotel, like looking out right now. And I love people watching. And I don't mean that in a creepy way, and I know a lot of you were commenting like, oh my god, people watching is such a fun thing, especially in a completely different place than where you're from, right? It's just a city that never sleeps. I'm like not even in the center, and there's just constantly like people going through, and like people on scooters, people on bikes, and the trees are just so beautiful, and this area has just treated me so well. It has been such a fabulous trip and such a relaxing time. I feel like it always is when I come to Paris. I feel like I just have the best time ever. I feel like I have almost like the most like resetting time ever of just like peace, and it really is a city that I adore. It really is. When I first came here a couple months ago for the first time ever, it was my first time solo traveling. I had never been anywhere really on my own this extreme before, and I loved it from that first time. But the thing is, I stayed at a really nice hotel, right? And I'm not saying this isn't a nice hotel, but I stayed at a really like prestigious hotel, and there was constant like room calls from reception, like asking did I need anything. I was constantly getting wine delivered to my door, like they were always giving me like nut mixes and stuff like that. Like it was very much so a hotel experience. So I've been to Paris 4 times, I think. Yes, 4 times, including this time. And the first 3 times were at this one hotel. And, oh, someone is texting me. For the first 3 times I was at that hotel. And this time, I'm obviously at a new hotel. And this hotel was a lot cheaper. And I really do feel like it's like living in like an apartment room or something, or having your own little space in Paris. Like the reception obviously aren't calling you, they're not like checking up on you, you like kind of fend for yourself, you just have the room. And I love it so much more. I've been grocery shopping, and I've been going to like just walking and going into like, if I see like a grocery store, I'm like, I go in there and I'm surrounded by very obvious locals, and I just feel like I'm like fitting in. And the first couple times I was coming to Paris, I was wearing like berets and I was wearing like my extravagant outfits, and I mean now I'm coming here and I'm wearing like my cozy winter outfits and stuff, and so are the people who live here. And I'm having such friendly conversations, like just passing people on the street, and I don't know if it's tourists, I don't know if it's, you know, locals, but I'm just having great conversations with people, and I just feel so like welcome here. And every day I'm going out and doing stuff, and even if it's just sitting in a park, because there's just so much happening that you can just like go and watch. And so it's kept me in such a great routine. Like no matter what time I wake up, I go out and do something regardless of the time, because there's always something to do. And I mean, I'm always like, do I just love Paris, or am I like, it's somewhere new? You know, like, am I so desperately like, I want to live in Paris, and then I would live in Paris and be like, I so desperately want to live in Germany. You know what I mean? Because I am someone who like is very dun, I keep going and stuff like that. It's a great trait, but also a very horrible one about myself. And I really feel like I don't think it's just, I would love to live here, I would love to live here. I really do feel like I fit in. And now that may be my delusions, right? Very clearly could be my delusions. But every time I've been here, this time specifically, I'm just doing normal activities. I'm doing the activities that I do back home, but there's just such a zest for them. Like, it's so inspiring. And when you're on the streets and you're vlogging, no one's staring at you, no one cares. Literally, like, that's it, no one cares. I just have had the best trip ever. The best trip ever. And I'm so blown away by this hotel. I'm so blown away by this area. The people have just been so kind. And I'm so happy. I feel like I'm going back tomorrow, back to Brighton, because I'm going back to Brighton for a few hours, and then I go to Dublin. I feel like I'm going back to Brighton with just like the best mindset ever. Like, it always happens when I come here. It's a city where you're walking past and everyone looks so cool, and everyone's working, and everyone's out for coffee, and like literally you're walking past, like everyone's smoking. And I'm not endorsing any of that, but like it's just like everyone's so like individualized here, and it's like encouraged, and it's just inspiring. There's so much of Paris I haven't seen, but I do feel like there's so much I have seen now. I've made an effort this time to do normal things and not do touristy things, because I feel like I've done most of them that I have wanted to see. Like the first couple times I came here, you know, I was going to the Louvre, going to, I can't name them off the top of my head because I'm so tired right now, but all the touristy things, right? All the museums, and I love doing all that stuff. But this time I was just kind of like existing here and doing boring activities, and it was so relaxing. So relaxing. I literally was walking for hours upon hours every single day. Like, when I'm back home, you know, I go on a walk, and here you're seeing so many different things every single day. And so I'm like walking, and then I'll check my phone, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get back to the room. Like, it's been 3 hours, and I'm walking with like my earphones in, and I'm just taking it all in. And sometimes you'll just like be like, oh, I want to sit down here and like watch what's happening. And you do. There's just like things happening all the time. And like, the one thing I love is that there's so many dogs here. So many dogs. Everyone is walking a dog, and I just would love to have Bonnie and Dolly here with me. I was FaceTiming them. They're back home in Ireland right now because I'll be going home to Ireland for Christmas. So they're with my parents right now for the first time in 6 months. And I just wish that I could be here with them, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many activities I would want to do with the dogs here. And so many parks I would love to take them to, and so many cafes. Like, people are sitting outside with their dogs, and I'm like, oh my god, I can like sit here, and Dolly and Bonnie will be here with me. And like, they have like cafes that are like have stuff for dogs as well, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like fantastic. It's just been a dream. It really has. I came here by fluke once. I don't know why I decided to come to Paris that one time. I like traveling, but I don't know, I think I was going through a bad time a couple months ago, like a really, really, really awful mental health crisis. Like, it was one of the worst I've ever been at. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna treat myself to I've never been to Paris before, let's go to Paris. And it was literally like that. And ever since that trip, I have been so inspired. And each time I come back here, I get a new zest for work, and a new zest for emails and stuff like dumb shit like that, because I'm like surrounded by people who are so business focused. You're at a cafe, and everyone around you is like on their like computer, like Zooms, and like, and I'm like, and it's so like, I'm like, oh, I want to get back to the room and work. It's so cool. I really love it. I do. So I'm very excited to go elsewhere. You know, this is only the start of it. I was on a call with my mom, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm like, this trip has been like a lot because I've been doing so much, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm on day 4 of like a month trip. I'm like, I've got to pace myself, but I just wanted to immerse myself as much as possible here, and I feel like I have. And so I'm so excited to see Dublin, and I haven't been to Dublin since last year. I went with my mum. We were going through a really bad point in Corona, obviously, and we couldn't travel anywhere, and they opened up travel for like Ireland. So we went from like the north of Ireland to, I was living back home at the stage, we went to Dublin, and we stayed at a great hotel, and we had literally my favorite memories with my mum were just from last year, like going on that trip. So I haven't been to Dublin since that, and I had the most fabulous time. And I'm going to Dublin with my friend Asia, who is one of the greatest people I've ever met and has stood by me through so much. And oh my god, there's so many gays here. Queens. Asia has done so much for me and been there for so much, and I can't wait to, if she wants, hopefully she'll be seen in the vlogs, but I won't be overly filming her. So just so you're aware, I am going to Dublin with her, but it's not up to her to be in the videos, so I'll be filming everything, but I probably won't be like, here's Asia, and like showing everything. So right after that, we haven't really sat down and talked about what's happening. So, and then after that, I go back to Brighton for a day, I think, or like less than a day, and then it's LA and New York, and it's a lot. It's incredibly stressful to think about. You know, I'm having so much fun on these trips, and I'm having so much enjoyment, and it's so fulfilling and creative. But I have a very hectic month ahead of me. A very work-heavy month in LA and New York. Like, I'm going there for like a fun trip, but me and Kat have like meetings and interviews or events we have to go to like every single day, so it's gonna be a lot, and I'm so fucking grateful that like people are watching the vlogs. You know, people aren't subscribed to my channel for daily vlogs, and I completely understand that and appreciate that. And you know, I'm taking a risk putting these on my channel every day, and if you're watching right now, like, I want you to know that I'm not expecting you to watch, but I really, like, way over any other video I post, I really appreciate you watching these, because these are what I put most effort into, and it doesn't mean that I want them to perform, you know, so successfully or whatever. I never expect them to, because it's so vastly different than what I built my audience off of. But I really just want you to know that this is going at the end of the vlog. It's from the night before. If you're watching these, you know, there's so many more of them coming, and your comments and your engagement in it, and like, it really does feel like, oh wow, motorbike. It really does feel like I'm hanging out with people every single day, and I don't mean that in a bullshitty way. Here's how I mean it. When I'm sitting in a cafe, for example today, or was it tomorrow, or yesterday, I was sitting in a cafe, and I was surrounded by like a bunch of like people my age who were like sitting with like their friends and stuff like that, and I pulled out my camera and I was like filming me eating or something like that, and I was like, it's so crazy that this clip is going to be seen by like so many of you from all around the world, and you're commenting on the videos, and like, it's just being able to connect with people in this way and show you things and experience it with you is just so incredibly rewarding. You know, I love going on trips, but this series of trips will probably be my last for quite some time, on the basis of I'm gonna be very traveled out by the end of this. That doesn't mean I'm not grateful, that doesn't mean I'm not excited, it just means it's a lot, and we'll be approaching the end of the year, and you know, everyone's gonna be chilling and stuff like that, and I'm so excited to just spend literally the next month every single day with you. And if you're here for it, I really appreciate that, and if you're not, again, I understand that, but just give them a chance, you know what I mean? If you're watching these vlogs, like, I'm gonna make every day as like interesting as possible, and no repetitive like activities in the videos, and just like, let me tell you, Paris I didn't have anything planned, Dublin I didn't have anything planned, LA and New York, every single day there's shit going down. Like, I don't think you're ready, because I'm not ready. So with that being said, it's like 3:12 right now, and I don't want to go to sleep, because I don't want to have to wake up and it be my last day in Paris. Because I'm like almost considering pulling an all-nighter, because I'm like, then that means that I have as much time left in Paris. I just love it here. I love it. Ugh, it's so amazing. Okay, but I literally will talk for all day, and this is going at the end of the vlog, and I haven't even started the vlog. So, thank you for watching, and bye. Let's go to Dublin.